entitles you to the ultimate battle of good against evil. To a quest few are prepared for, and fewer still survive. But perhaps now the power is within your grasp. It's the game that's already a legend. The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Only on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Now you're playing with superpower.
Before Nintendo came out with Super Metroid, we wanted to make sure it was the most intense Metroid battle ever. So we thought we'd see how Killer here would fare against it. Ready, boy? That's 24 megs worth of weapons, worlds, and weirdos old Killer's up against. Nintendo's biggest game ever. He's a big boy. He can handle it. Well, let's see how he did. Ship it! Super Metroid, only on the Super NES.
It's just like hanging with a few of your friends, talking games, cartoons, and all the trends. From voice actors to game masters, they got guests to talk about matters of fun. So run and tune into them. They can't be outdone, yeah, they number one. It's the
got me knocking to the beat. What's good, interweb? This is your man Q, your guest host with the most. I'm here with none other than CHRONOZ, Kotetsu, and Ryan. We out here for one of our favorite topics, our favorite discussions for our OG, triple OG folks. And that's, hold on. I had to have her for here for a dramatic pause. Don't worry about the dirt. She's older than most of the viewers. 1993, the GOAT system, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. I'm just gonna sit you right over here, girl. Right there, next to the controller that's all dusty rolled up. Right over there. But this is Gamerz Realm number 72, and I'm thankful to be here to talk about my favorite console of all time. I mean, where do we need to start? Does anybody have any memories or jump off the bat of any memories of how they were first introduced to the Super Nintendo?
I think the only memory that I have that introduced me was Turtles in Time. Because I'm still am huge Turtles fan, and I remember going to my cousin's house, or no, I remember me and my dad playing Turtles in Time at the arcade. I forgot where, and then I went over to my cousin's house, and he had the same thing, but it was on the Super NES, and I was like, "Yo, this is cool." And I had a Sega Genesis at the time, and I got it for the Sega Genesis, and it's not the same. They are two separate games. They are not. It is not the same. The music, the animations, and just everything is. There are two separate games. So I'm like, okay, arcade and Super NES version is better. But that's how I got introduced to Super NES is through Turtles in Time.
Okay.
Oh, and Shaq Fu. Shaq Fu.
Oh, Shaq Fu?
Can't forget about Shaq Fu.
Yeah. You see, I try to forget about Shaq. Shaq Fu was always that bargain bin game that was,
I don't understand why people give it. It wasn't supposed to be what it was. You weren't supposed to take it seriously. It was like this is how I look at Shaq Fu. I look at it as who was one of the biggest centers of all time during that era, right? Like one of the best centers of all time. When you think about it, it would be Shaq. Mm-hmm. So of course the developer was like, "Hey, let's just go here." Or Shaq was probably like, I was gonna do impersonate some Shaq. I'm not gonna do it. But he did some songs and stuff, and he probably went to developers, and he was probably like, "Oh, I want to make it. I want to make a game. I want to make it like a kung fu game, and I want to make it look like this." And they're probably like, "All right, cool. What do you want?" Or he's probably, "I want to make a game." And they're like, "All right, well, what do you want to do? You want to do something like Michael Jordan had, or this?" And he was like, "No, I want something different." And he was like, "I want a kung fu game," and then that's probably what he got. And so I when I play, I didn't take it seriously. It was just all fun. like 100%. I enjoyed it. I didn't take it. It wasn't gonna be like Street Fighter, like it wasn't gonna be on par Street Fighter. But I mean, it's a game that probably wasn't meant to be taken seriously.
I agree. I would say I had to take it seriously because in '93 I still wasn't working yet, so I had to depend on my mom's to buy the system. So back then we used to rent games for folks that don't know what Blockbuster Hollywood Video were, because oh my god, but
or warehouse videos
or warehouse videos, or just remember your mom and pop video stores. Shaq Fu was $59.99 plus tax. In LA, that was still back. That was expensive back then. And I remember renting it, and it was, even though, like you said, Kotetsu, it was cool for what it was. I just, back for me, I only had like 2 or 3 games, and then I still was lingering on or holding on to that. I was holding on to that regular Nintendo for forever, because I couldn't afford. I ended up getting the Super Nintendo in '93, so 2 years after it had dropped. So I still was playing NES for forever. And then the time I did get a SNES, we used to rent the games. Oh, Albertsons used to rent games. So
really, I didn't know that.
So grocery shopping on Fridays, and they had a little section in, that cuts in with the store, $2. Rent 1 game a week, and after I did my homework, my little weekend homework, boom.
Get on there.
Okay.
How about you, Ryan?
Honestly, the Super Nintendo is the reason I got my first job. Because I mean, you can debate whether or not a paper route is a real job. Certainly wasn't making good money, but I like babysitters and friends' houses would get to play little bits of like Super Mario World or A Link to the Past, and so I was like, just the few moments of the experience with those titles was like, okay, we had an NES growing up. But the few moments of experience I got with Super Nintendo was like, yeah, this is selling me on this being like a passion and a hobby going forward. It's not just, I mean, there's some great old NES games, but it's very much like the arcadey kind of game design style. Super Nintendo is where gaming became, like that era, it became a thing that you did and put time into. And so, like, yeah, I had to have one. And when I got up about basically enough money to pay for it, was right around when the first Donkey Kong Country came out, and they did like the pack-in set. I don't sadly have any of the packaging left, but I still have somewhere in my closet. It's now yellowed, as the SNES tends to, like the gray on it tends to get yellowed, like discolored and that. Put a ton of hours into that, but yeah, like you're saying, Geek, I didn't have really that many games for it, so a lot of what I would have to say about the SNES is more like things I found out after the fact that are like, oh yeah, these are series that I would like to check out, or things that I got into after the fact. And most of my nostalgia for it is just sitting and playing Donkey Kong Country and getting to the point, not where I can speedrun it, but like I can go through, like go level to level and do a decent percent run through it in basically like, a few hours. So, yeah. That's about all I got to say to start, I guess.
Okay. I'll just go in with my part here. I definitely have my kind of beat up. It's kind of, I got this from Ryan. I bought it from him. Sold it to me. Well, Ryan Xavier from our group. So you can tell it's kind of faded in some parts, but yeah, this thing still works like a beauty. It works just fine. So some of the games I do have original cartridges. I have the I got Zelda, Link to the Past, which is my favorite game of all time. Right next to Chrono Trigger, man. It's so hard. Those two games are so amazing. But this game I got from somebody, and I never played it. I don't know if you guys know anything about it. It's something like I got along the way. But with other games that I love having was, everyone knows this one, Super Mario World. I got 2 copies for some reason. I don't remember how I ended up with 2. But like, I got my Super Mario All-Stars original.
I remember that.
And it's real dirty at the bottom. So I still cleaned it, but it still had a lot of like faded stuff on there. So it works. And I just got working again was your Tiny Toons. And, I had to get that cleaned up. Xavier cleaned it up. But yeah, the Tiny Toons.
That was my first game.
It's amazing, dude. Just the feeling of remembering those days back in the day when we were young, whether it's Super Mario World, Zelda and Chrono Trigger has some of the best nostalgia feeling. But I recently bought this one, of course, Chrono Trigger again. This one is one of those what do you call those remade games for like $25. Works exactly like the original cartridge does, but if I wanted to buy the original, I'm going to pay $500 for it. So, maybe I'll find in somebody's lucky yard sale and selling it for 25 cents or something. I don't know. I got to start looking. But I would say the feeling of Super Nintendo games from back in the day gave me, I wasn't the kid that went out and would go out and play outside down the street or whatever. We all have different ways of growing up as we're young. Meaning, I had a brother. Brothers would they like to go outside and play, ride their bikes to the park, whatever. I was always inside playing my Super Nintendo, and I still, as much as maybe I should have been outside, but then again, that's where a lot of love for video games came from, mainly from Super Nintendo itself. The NES too, but the Super Nintendo really kind of opened up my eyes more for for playing games. Man, just to think about it now it's amazing. Just remember those feelings. And even when I play a game again, whether it's Zelda or Chrono, I go back in time and I remember that feeling. I want to give you a quick, real fast top 10. I don't know if you guys got top 10, but my top 10, I would say.
Yes, sir.
I was kind of hard. I was like, okay, move this out of the way. So much as I love a lot of these other games like Jet Force Gemini and so forth, Turtles in Time, I grew up a lot with these top 10, and F-Zero will be 10, and then 9 would be Street Fighter 2. Let me see. Then 8 would be Contra 3. It should be maybe up, but either way, I love Contra. Mario Kart from the Super Nintendo. All Super. Mario Kart is, oh my god, and also one of my all-time favorites would be Super Metroid, Country. Then one game I almost forgot about, just remembered, and now I'm on the hunt for, is that I love so much Illusion of Gaia. Illusion of Gaia. It's I love it. Let me see. What was the? Yeah, I got that already. I'm gonna go down to. I think I already said Super Mario World. Then Chrono Trigger and Zelda: Link to the Past. Those games, those are the top 2. But my memories come mainly from those games. Just really, pretty much the games I played with my family, my brothers, were like Mario All-Stars or Super Mario World, Mario Kart, or like games I played by myself. I would say some of my best gaming moments were, again, with Zelda Link to the Past was something I played Chrono or watched my brothers play Chrono, one of them, but that's kind of, it all grew in with my love for Final Fantasy later on. But other than that, yeah, that's my take on, Super Nintendo. It's just been some of the most amazing times of my life. And, I like from the original controller to, I just bought this one a few, let's see if I can show it real fast. I just bought this one the other day from one of those, it's called like the old school, it's like a remake. It looks like, feels exactly. Let's see if we can compare both real quick. See this. I didn't really actually do this yet, but here's the original right here, and here is the one I recently bought. So they're kind of similar. It just doesn't have the logo on this one. They feel pretty much the same. You know, just some in case I needed a second player because I'm going to play with someone eventually. But yeah, this thing still works so perfectly, and these will not have the drift issues we currently be getting these days. But yeah, Super Nintendo. If you don't have one, get one, and and try it out if you have it, because I recommend it for anyone to try out. Let's see. Let me get out of there.
I think the equivalent to the drift issues now are like the button jamming back then, like the directional buttons kind of jamming up, getting that grit in there, and sometimes they don't respond. I remember I had to deal with that with my Genesis. It was just grit would get in, and then to the point where it's like you can't go forward or do any other stuff. But now it's like the wear and tear of the joysticks now that causes all that stuff. So
it's amazing though, the resilience and like how well built. Like similarly, I still have my original NES and it works fine. Like whereas modern tech, when it's as old as the SNES, it is not going to work like that. It will not work that well, guaranteed. Stuff was just made to last better, and the Nintendo seal of quality back in the day meant a lot more than unfortunately it does. And not just talking about the drift, but like over the years, it's become less of a thing, I guess.
Yeah.
I would say some of the best controllers. Out of all the Nintendo controllers, I did like 64 Nintendo, but I think my favorite controller was the Super Nintendo controller for me. It just had the best grip. I need to get the ones for the Switch. I need to get those, and I think they're hard to find now, or are they?
Yeah,
can't find
stuff like that's gonna be rare. You're not gonna find. It's harder to find stuff like that.
I gotta buy it at a better price, higher price, right?
Probably the most you're probably gonna find is like 200 and up or 250 and up. You probably find anything that like has to do with like celebrating or commemorating Nintendo's history on the modern stuff. They sell out quick, and Nintendo does this. They'll sell out quick, and they'll purposely won't make enough. Like they'll make
the Disney format
just enough. Yeah. Like I remember when I used to work at Toys R Us when the 3DS was still, popping, which it's in a sense it still is. But like Nintendo made like these Mario and Luigi limited edition 3DSs. And I remember because I used to work in the electronics department, we had like 4. And I remember because I was like, oh man, I want to get one. And then the next day they were gone. And I'm like, damn, they sold out that quick. And I remember people calling and asking, and when are you gonna get more? And I would say, you know what? We only get what Nintendo sends us. And once if it's 4, that's it. That's all we're getting. And so people will go, can you check here? Check. I'm like, I can, but I'm telling you. And then one time I said, there's one in New York. She said, well, how can I do it? I was like, you're gonna have to call them. Like you have to call them and see if they actually have it in stock. But yeah, that's what anything that has to do anything old school or anything like themed or anything with Nintendo, they sell out and they won't. The chances of them making more are like next to none sometimes. Which sucks.
I'm ready. I have a lot to say about the Super Nintendo. I'm ready.
All right.
Chronoz said a whole bunch of stuff that I maybe want to chime in, so I don't really know where to start. So sometimes the best place to start is just to start. So what I'll do is I'll give you the brief story of how I was introduced to the Super Nintendo. I already told you guys that
I think I heard this.
I had the NES, couldn't afford a Super Nintendo, but during that time, what happened was my mom had a boyfriend at the time, and it was around Christmas, 1991, around that time when Super Nintendo came out. See how I crossed the hands, because I was hurt. And her boyfriend at the time bought a Super Nintendo for me for Christmas, right? But they broke up during Christmas. So guess what? That was in 1991.
Someone turned to an Indian gamer.
Super Nintendo into 1993 on March 23rd, 1993. on my birthday. And my grandfather bought it for me. He got me the Mario All-Stars package, because that's when they were bundling it.
Oh, nice.
And it didn't come with the Mario World, which I was disappointed in, but it came with just the All-Stars, which the secret levels and all that. And then I got Buster's Bust Loose, and that was the first time that I was introduced to what the hell football was. Like, I knew what football was, but I didn't know the plays. Like, I'm the only child. So I'm the only child, and I didn't care about sports like that. I always liked basketball, but I didn't care about football. I didn't care. But I remember Buster, I'm gonna say Bugs, Buster having to go on. I'm like, what is third and long? What is third and long? It's a football part that you have to do when you're entering. I think was it Montana Max's mansion, and he had like a football stadium or something. But anyway, to piggyback on that, what I was going to say is, in my estimation, my opinion, being an triple OG gamer like most of you gentlemen here, but the Super Nintendo from 1991 to 2001, in my estimation, is the golden era of games. Everything that came out during that time, when you look at it now, it's just a reproduction of that. So that goes back from
I get that.
Final Fantasy VI. That goes from the Chrono Trigger. That goes from look at the Metroids. That goes from, think about it, even with the Metal Gears that's on PlayStation and other things now, everything happened within that golden era. When Chronos brought up the Super Nintendo controller, I got my old dusty, dang, look at this, hasn't been used. This is what happens when you ROM things, or you you play things on other systems. But if you look at this one, Sony was very smart. So you guys remember the collaboration between Sony and Nintendo. Yeah. If you look at the whole Panasonic and everything, it wasn't a coincidence.
The same controller.
They just put some booty cheeks on it. It's the same thing.
Yeah, even to the DualSense today, it's still the same thing.
The same exact thing, and they're not going to change it. They're not going to change it. That's why Nintendo is always mums the word when it comes to how they're doing their new systems and their new controllers and stuff. Because remember, the Kinect it comes from basically the Wii Motion. Same
Pretty
thing
much.
with the
PlayStation Move. The PlayStation Move.
Yes. Nintendo. This is deviating a little bit, but Nintendo is the only out of the big three, or used to be four. Nintendo is the only video game company exclusively. No other backing. That's it. Sony is movies and music. Microsoft, well, we know we're using Windows more than likely now. All of us using Windows. So they have the backing in that. Nintendo is just primarily gaming. For me, what changed and made it, to piggyback on what Ryan said earlier, the change, it was, ironically, my first job was a paperboy too. And they would take your money. How you going to have to take money from a little kid and make them have to pay for the papers when the people don't pay? And with I ended up buying a Sega Genesis with my money from the paper route, because I already had a Super at the time, which I got the Sega late too. But during that time, I won't say it was 96. They had a little bit before then. Nintendo had sent me a VHS of Donkey Kong Country, and I still have it. Before the video, before we start streaming, I should have found it. But and it explained about the British studios and how Rare was doing it, and had all the hip hop in the back, and even made me feel good. They had a black dude helping produce the game. So as a 10-year-old, I was like, oh my god, I can do it.
Oh my gosh.
Representation matters. And what happened was they also did the same thing for me with Super Mario RPG. They send me not a demo, because they have demos like that, but they sent me like a little video Nintendo Power did to explain what Super Mario RPG was. So in about 1995 for Christmas, my mom ended up getting me, it's always Christmas, it's always like a nice holiday. It was Super Mario RPG, which that's why, for those of y'all who always know that I always talk about Gino, and haven't really picked up Smash Brothers since, well, he's not going to be in. A little salty, but I like Geno's because of Mario RPG. That was my first official role-playing game because I didn't even know what role-playing was at the time. I got that, and I got Donkey Kong Country 2. I'm skipping a whole bunch because I'm not trying to take up all the time. But I moved to the Valley, and one of my neighbors, it was almost like literally, you probably have heard this story, Kotetsu, like the Sandlot. It was all races, all creeds, all ages, and we all grew up in a cul-de-sac. And one of my neighbors at the time, Petey, he brought over a shoebox of RPGs. Like, he was the only child too. So ironically, 3 of the 5 of us that hung out were only children, and they played RPGs. And that's when I was first introduced. So Petey came over, he had a shoebox, and he goes, I still remember his voice to this day. He says, here, play these, Quentin. And that's what changed my life, literally. Like, my video game life, I had rented Chrono Trigger that summer. And that was the first game that I was able to play for more than like brief time. My mom was real strict on playing games all the time and ruin your eyes. But she let me, for whatever reason, play this game straight 14 days. I didn't go outside. I played Chrono Trigger 14 days straight while I was listening to my favorite R&B singer, ELLIE, when they used to have a radio and you used to be able to tape things and record it and listen over and over. So I remember listening to some 90s R&B while being stuck in the sewer after I had got kicked out of the land of Zeal, the Kingdom of Zeal on Chrono Trigger. So I had no clue how to get back, and I had to take the game back because I rented it. And then that's when I was introduced to Petey and my friend Daniel and everybody that played RPGs at the same time. We were at a bus stop going to school, the summer break was over. And Daniel was telling me, he said, man, somebody picked up this game and they played underneath me because I wasn't gonna be mean about it. This is before cloud saves and everything. He had like a new game plus, which I didn't know was a new game plus, and I didn't delete it. Come to find out, that was Daniel, and we're still friends to this day because of Chrono Trigger. He had been playing the game before me, and he said I was waiting for whoever rented it to bring it back so I can beat the game. And then that's when PD let us all borrow the games, and ever since then, it's all been role-playing games for me because it's an interactive book. I agree, and I feel that Super Nintendo was at the forefront of this, not only with storytelling, with the MIDI, how they used and manipulate the music from soundtracks, all the way until the controller schemes, what they just added upon what the benefit was with the NES, doubled the graphics, then with the FX chip. I mean, it just was, at the time, everything you needed a system to be, and it lasted all the way into 3 years after the 64. Like, I still was playing the Super Nintendo way after it was already supposed to be dead.
Yeah, like Mario RPG launched. RPG launched like just ahead of the N64, if I remember right. It's like same year. Same with Donkey Kong Country 3 was the same year. So yeah, there was still right up to the end. There was it's like the original PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5. Like the last year before is just banger, 2 or 3 good banger games that like there's still life there, so you don't gotta you don't have to transition over if you don't want to.
And with the Wii U too, well, not really. I mean, the only thing I think of with the Wii U and Switch was Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, and that was it. I think after that,
well, I guess you could make the argument like Mario Kart is basically a port with some enhancements. And other than that, it's all new stuff. But yeah, that's fair.
Ever. As long as it keeps selling, we're not getting a 9.
We have this argument. I had this argument with everybody. I'm like, that I'm sure they have it like slowly being in development, but there's no rush. The second Mario Kart Tour, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe start to decline, then they're gonna be like, all right, where are we at? Oh, we just did this. All right, everybody on this now, and then they're
Don't be
just gonna,
surprised if they
knock
drop
it
it
out.
when a Pro comes out, though. Like they did with the Wii U. I mean, with the
What's up,
Switch.
Kane?
Don't be surprised. Oh, Mario Kart 9 now for with upgraded graphics and stuff for or
Yeah, maybe.
Super Smash Karts for the
Something.
Switch Pro. Yeah.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's possible.
I'm sure they got it, somewhere slowly having time put in it, and then when it needs to bring Mario Kart back to life, then they're like, all right, Mario Kart 9, let's do it. Or not, don't even give us 9, just say, all right, 8 is just gonna turn into Mario Kart Deluxe and just cram stuff in there. They can do that. If they don't want to make 9, just take 8 away, make 8 or make a, not even to go off topic, but make like a free-to-play Mario Kart game on the Switch and just give us stuff.
They're not going to.
I know.
Now, yeah.
I know.
I
know.
If they went for it,
that would be nice.
paying for the carts and the drivers and stuff and the courses.
I'm surprised we have Ninjala and Pokemon Unite coming for free. I'm surprised we're getting those games for free. Because those are Nintendo, like they're not coming anywhere. Oh, besides mobile and stuff for Pokemon Unite, because it's done by I think it's a Korean developer that does mobile games. But I mean, still, like I said, I'm surprised we're getting Pokemon for free. Like, since when we get besides the whatever Pokemon game we got before, when are we getting this for free? But anyway, that's another day.
I have a question.
Speaking of Pokemon, though,
Go ahead.
let me just chime in with this. First, I've only played 3 of the generations. The first generation, and I played on the regular Game Boy. And then, I was in high school when it when it dropped. Like, I used to watch it early in the morning. But I had the Super Game Boy. So what I used to do is pop that Joker in there. I had, the Charizard, I had red, and then I had yellow. And yellow out of the 3 original was my favorite because I was watching a cartoon early in the morning, and I like Charizard and Charmander, but now I'm more of a Squirtle guy. But I was able to play on the big screen, and honestly, for me, and this is deviating a little bit, but that's why I think the Switch is the most complete Nintendo system, because it allows Nintendo to do what the hell they want with all their little goofy novelties. Because I'm not even gonna start no trouble here, but the Wii was a novelty, and it lets them do the Labo and racetracks and 3D, but still allows us to get hardcore games and first-party games that we can play on the go on one console. Because the money grab wasn't grabbing. I didn't like it. I didn't like having to play Golden Sun or Advance Wars or Pokemon on not my major system.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And I think that's why we're probably not going to see another handheld, because the Switch is that. And I don't think.
Yeah, it's
just looking into the future, right? Look past the Switch. No matter any other iteration of Switch, they can't do another console without saying it's portable. They can't do it because then like it's because you're taking that novelty away from us. You're taking that mainstream, not even a handheld console, like it's a mainstream Nintendo console that's portable, that allows us to play on our TVs, and we can sit back. If they come up with another console and take that away, I think that is a horrible decision. That if they decide to do that, I think that would be a bad decision if they decide to do that, because then they got to make another handheld.
Not only for that reason, but like Nintendo's whole thing, and going back to Wii was a novelty, but going back to the Wii era, they do something that's different from what everyone else is offering. The Wii era, it was the motion controls that then everyone copied because it was successful. The Wii U was the gamepad, and you could play off TV, or you had the extra screen that was detached from your TV, depending on how the game played. And then that didn't take off, so no one copied it. and then now the Switch has its. You laugh.
It
but
was
it's
hard
true.
to make.
one
It was
caught,
very
like,
hard.
a
It was hard to
response at
make
one
games.
point of,
It
like,
was hard to
Sony
make
doing
games
something,
on.
and Xbox had like some kind of glass thing they showed
Oh,
off at
the
E3.
smart glass. The
Smart glass, yeah, smart glass, and then
I
they
still
never
don't know
did
what
anything
that
with
is.
it because Wii
I
U
still
didn't
don't
take
know what
off.
that
So why
is.
would they copy it?
Yeah, I still don't know what that is. To this
Yeah,
day.
no, I'm not really sure exactly what it was meant to be either. But they talked about it, and then the numbers didn't bear out that this was worth chasing after, like the sales numbers, so they didn't do it. And now with the Switch, they got a portable that's also a home console. So if they are going to go away from that, which I don't think they will, and I agree they shouldn't, they have to then come up with an entirely new, like, this is our thing that we can copyright at least something about this, and then our competitors have to try and do something else to give that experience. It's the unique thing that we being Nintendo has to offer that no one else can give. And because it's been such a success, I don't feel like they have an interest in trying to reinvent the wheel necessarily, especially after how badly burned they got on the Wii U again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I am one. To me, the Wii U is the worst console of all time. Me personally.
See,
it was bad.
I enjoyed the Wii. I'm that person who's like, I mean, the Wii U. I'm the opposite of everybody. People are like, oh, this is the worst. I'm like, I had a good time on there. And the only reason, and I'll be real, the only reason I got the Wii U was because of a few games. It was Star Fox Zero, because I'm a Star Fox fan. Xenoblade Chronicles X, because
X was amazing.
That was a great game.
It was. That was the main reason.
Yeah, that was a great game. Wonderful 101, because I'm a huge Power Ranger, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider fan. And what else? And Bayonetta 2, because I like Bayonetta. And I was like, yo, no one else is getting Bayonetta 2 but the Wii U? Okay, cool. I have a Wii U just for that. So what was it? December 23rd. I know somewhere I had that ready to go. So, but I enjoyed the Wii U. Like, yeah, you're right. You guys are right. It wasn't the best console because it was just, you had this huge freaking tablet thing, and it was just hard. Especially, it's hard to play Smash on. That was the hardest thing to play Smash Bros on. It was really hard.
To get a pro controller for that.
I haven't used mine in such a long time. I went to go trade it in for a GameCube, right? About 3 months ago. I haven't used it in so many years. It doesn't work. It just shut down. It just hates me. Like, it knew I was trading it, and it just said, you know what? Screw you. I don't work no more. It just don't work. The dude, it's just locked on the Wii U screen. So now it's just stuck over here. I did dust it off the other day. That was the only Nintendo a friend of mine gave it to me. That was the only one. Her and her brother, twin brother, were like, it's nothing on here, because they used to just buy everything new. It's nothing on here. Do you want it? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, these people giving consoles away. Yeah, I'll take it, and that's why I don't really feel too bad. But
I thought it was cool. I get it was hard to develop on. It was hard to make games on because you had to utilize the gamepad in some way, shape, or form. And I think Nintendo games worked that way because they knew how it worked. The third-party developer, that's why there was barely any, because it was just hard and Nintendo was just stingy back then. But yeah, the Switch is what it is.
They're like, we sold the most consoles of all time with the Wii, so you're gonna buy this add-on for $300 more. And I was working at Toys R Us at the same time too. I was in our zone. I was the supervisor. And people used to come in, and I'm like, that's not it. They're like, what is this? This is an add-on? I'm like, no, boo. That's a whole
I was mad. I was mad
whole
that
system.
They didn't make me supervise, and I was the only person who knew what everything was. There's times where they would call me on my off day, hey, where's this at? I'm like, you realize I'm not working today, right? And you asking me where this is? Go look for it. And I'd be like, it's here. So, okay, cool. I'm the only person who knew. They didn't make me supervise. I was mad about that. And I was the only person who worked 8-hour days in that department.
To this day.
I was the only person who worked 8-hour days. They didn't give me the money. That's fine. I'm doing better. But anyway, I digress. What were we talking about? We're talking about Super NES, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
We're talking about?
I'm wondering. I have a quick.
Come back to
one,
something
guys.
that Geek said and that CHRONOZ said. So yeah, like this era, the SNES era, is the golden age of gaming. But like to do a top 10 list, I feel like such an like a pretender to do one, because like I said, like Donkey Kong Country was all that I had. I played a bunch of other stuff, but it was always for short moments, or like I got more time with it on like Virtual Console, whether on the Wii or the Wii U. I had both of those. Or like, I mean, tons of Square stuff is now on PC, on mobile. Ideally, I'll get it on PC because no one wants to play those games on mobile. That's like if you have no other option, then I guess you're stuck with that. Please, side note, please Square bring Tactics to anything else, not just mobile. I don't want to play that on mobile. I have it on mobile, but please bring us some other way to play that game. But yeah, like, I mean, you can literally like put game names on a dartboard, throw a dart, and hit a great all-time Super Nintendo game, like no problem. Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario World, or Yoshi's Island, Mario RPG, Final Fantasy 6. From what I've heard, I haven't tried it yet. I have it on PC, but 4 is supposed to be really good too. I've also heard good but not as good things about 5. Chrono Trigger, obviously. Chrono Trigger and Super Metroid, though, again, I feel like a pretender. Those would be those are the peak of SNES era. I've not played them on either of them on SNES. I've played the Virtual Console and the Switch Online versions of Metroid, and then I got mobile, and then eventually PC Chrono Trigger. So I got to start it on that at some point. I've played it a little bit here and there, emulated, but that's one of the emulated games apparently where like at the end if you're not emulating the hardware, it will recognize that it's not a legitimate copy, and it'll make it so you can't finish the game.
What game are you talking about?
Chrono Trigger.
Oh.
Like it'll make the final boss look
significance out.
Sorry?
But I mean, you know, now it's on PC and people can like $20 or something on PC, so people don't have to worry about.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, the
that's
PC version
crazy.
was super affordable. So, I mean,
That's
just
crazy.
get a legitimate copy for the cost of it.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
You can get a controller for your PC too. So, like,
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, Earthbound does that too. Just something like that. Yeah.
Wait. Can you repeat that again? Earthbound does what?
So Earthbound and Chrono Trigger, if you emulate just the software, you don't have the hardware emulation, it will. There's something in the code to recognize that, and then it will prevent you from being able to finish the game. Like it'll change something in the code so that like the final boss or something towards the end is unpassable, basically. Even maybe something as simple as just like the boss doesn't run out of HP, basically. Because they want you to buy the legit copy. That's all that is. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
we did that on Final Fantasy VII. And this is real quick. For those of y'all who don't know, Aerith died. I'm sorry that I just spoiled it for you. It was 30 years ago.
No, I knew that.
But in Lifetime, I didn't know that. And PD ruined it for me. So I was brokenhearted. Like I originally liked Tifa, but I mean, damn it, Aerith was good too. Yeah. And he told me that she died because I was on this one and he beat the game in a weekend or like a week, like a crazy person. So I went and bought a Game Shark. For those of y'all remember Game Sharks, the fat back that sits on the back. So long story short, you can resurrect Aerith. You can bring her back. But when you get ready to fight Sephiroth at the end, it glitches. So it'll just she won't be there, and it'll just screw up the whole battle. So you can't beat the game with. And if you went to that last battle,
story
got stuck,
plot.
you're stuck. Yeah, she's the story. Yeah,
It's just a story plot.
And she doesn't show up on the world map either.
Yeah, it's a story plot.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then of course, coding, if they see something that's like, wait, this code shouldn't be here because this gets taken out, and it's gonna lock the whole thing up.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, it's like from a personal perspective, like yes, this is definitely the golden age of gaming, but then like so many of my experiences with it are like elsewhere. So I have a hard time, honestly, choosing between the golden age of gaming, the Super NES. GameCube was like the not the dark ages, it was like where they got like a lot of really like unique, interesting different ideas, whether it was like Nintendo trying things with their core franchises. Obviously Metroid Prime was a huge hit, or like just expanding, like GEAK, I'm really into RPGs, so expanding like my interest and taste in RPGs, Tales of Symphonia, and a big one that I'm to this day bothered by how little love and how little possibility there is that we'll get to experience it again on anything modern. Skies of Arcadia Legends.
Yeah. Yeah. I need
that again. I need access to that on like even just my computer.
That's one of GEAK's favorite. Another
that's one of my top 10 all time, sir.
We had a conversation about Skies of Arcadia.
All time.
Like Sega, you drop Sonic game after Sonic game, and like half of them, due respect to Sonic fans, are not even that good. Give us another way to play Skies of Arcadia. I know Sega is not listening to this and will never listen to that advice, but I need that. I want that, and I need that.
You want it? You must have it?
I must have it. Yeah, I must have it. On my
right now.
I don't care. One of those. Give it to me.
Do you have the GameCube version, Ryan?
Sorry?
Do you have the GameCube version?
I don't still have any of my GameCube stuff, sadly.
I
got through it completely, but then like, I got married shortly after the Wii came out, and so I had to start trading in stuff to buy new games. I'd have to trade stuff in to like the budget just wasn't there. It's very sad. All I have is my Switch and the games I have for that. I have a copy of Metroid Prime Trilogy that I can't play because I don't own a Wii U anymore, or Wii, anymore. I have the disc, but not anything to play it on. And then I have my Super that I mentioned somewhere in the closet.
When I first came back out here to LA, I had to go. Look how dirty the receipt is. This is
you kept the receipt.
Almost. Matter of fact, it's 10 years almost to this day. 7/27. You probably can't see it. 7/27/11, and this is how desperate I was. I drove like 30 LA miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, you went to Hawthorne. Yeah, I saw it. I saw it.
That is a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing right there.
But look, no case. They said, "Do you want it?" They were like, I said, "Can you hold it? How long can you hold it?" It's $45 plus tax. It's Skies of Arcadia Legends, because I used to have the Dreamcast and it got stolen, unfortunately. So I had to have it. I had to experience it again, and that's why recently I just went and bought. Because I have a GameCube, I just bought the generic Wavebird to hook up to the Wii.
So dope.
Yeah,
that was the first wireless. That was first wireless controller. That was the first wireless controller was Wavebird before everyone else was like, "Oh crap!"
There you go, Ryan, as well.
See, look,
that at least I can get on my PC. That
I've beaten that like 3 times. You know what's crazy? I've beaten Tales of Symphonia on every single platform it's ever been on. When I first had it for GameCube, I beat it. When it came out for PS3, I beat it. When it came out for PC, I beat it. I've beaten it all 3 times. And whenever, because like GEAK, it's an experience. I'm like, yo, I gotta go back and and experience again. Now, two wasn't as great and wasn't as powerful story wise as one. You know, it wasn't as great. I still played it, but I didn't
Symphonia
feel.
sequel?
Yeah, but I still didn't feel the what
The
the first game. Yeah, what the first game gave. You know, where you know you're playing as Lloyd and you're trying to figure out why Lloyd. You like why Lloyd has a freaking crest on his hand, and then there's Colette. Why is Colette this chosen? And you know who's Kratos? Wait, Kratos is spoiler. Kratos is Lloyd's dad. What? And you're just like,
and
just
why
like
the world is the way it is, and how to actually fix it properly.
I would say that Tales of Symphonia is probably the first RPG that I finished and I beaten. And I was like, good. Yo, this is what RPGs are. Actually, okay, so you know how you fight Undine, right? Because Sheena brings her back and they're trying to make a pact, and you have to fight Undine. Yes. And when I was first playing, I was like, why? I thought Sheena was whack. Cause I was like, she's not doing anything to Undine. I'm out of here. Why? I'm like, why? And then only then when I realized after my 5th fight with her, I said, I need to look at everyone's stuff. So I looked at everyone's stuff and I said, she has a water seal. I'm fighting a water opponent. Mm-hmm. Of course, nothing is gonna happen. So I switched out to things like earth or fire, and I was like, okay, you're doing that work now. Because I was upset the fact that you weren't doing nothing, and I cast you out my entire half of my playthrough because of that. And to realize that I wasn't, and it was on me because I wasn't, I don't know what I know now about equipment and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But to go back and talk about the NES, I can't give an experience like you guys have because, of course, I'm younger and I never had one, and I never had a reason to buy a Super NES. Like I really didn't. I felt like my experience was what it was. It was just going over my cousin's house and playing Mega Man X with the stupid codes. I remember whenever we play, we be like, all right, where are we at? And he have like a notebook of just like codes just listed down that notebook.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
because you got to remember the codes. I remember I was playing Mega Man X on my Switch and I saw the codes. I'm like, these stupid codes, man. Like I'm so glad they evolved from that because that was the dumbest thing. I hated that. And what else? Shaq Fu, of course, was always fun, man. That music. Okay, let me just say this, and anyone can disagree with me, but I think Shaq Fu, the intro when it says Electronic Arts before they just became EA, that was like the dopest, If you remember that before in the beginning of Shaq Fu when you started up, and it says EA Games. And then you see like the kung fu sound effects before they go into what they use for their. That's like the hypest part. I think that's like the hypest.
I was trying to remember
in video games because it's like they get you because it's like they get you ready for that. And I'm like, no other game has done something like that. Just to kind of say, okay, what am I about to get into? So I think that even like yesterday, I think the other day, I just like replayed that part like 5 times. And I'm like, that's like the dopest. I was like the dopest part of that. And the stupid thing is, me and my cousins used to do this dumb thing where like whenever we turned it on, we would like mimic all the sound effects and like do an actual like a fighting scene with the sound effects on every time. And it was just like it was one of those things I remember about Shaq Fu. And then Turtles in Time, of course. I remember we would always try to play Turtles in Time. We never could beat it. And then one day we were like, we're gonna sit here and beat this game. And we sat there and we beat it. And I remember like it was just like a humble brag. We'd be like, yo, man, we beat Turtles in Time. And then whenever I used to go over his house and he had other cousins come over and they played Turtles in Time, I'd be like, hey, remember we beat Turtles in Time? He's like, yeah, it was crazy. And knowing that no one else would ever beat it besides me and him in the house. And there was some other ones. And then Super Mario World, that was always a good great game to play with 2 people. And that I think that was it. Oh, and then I the first time I played Chrono Trigger was at his house. Like I don't know if he knew what it was, but I think the character that stood out to me the most was, and I don't remember his name, was the Toad who has like this Buster Sword. I was like, that was the coolest thing. Like, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, Toad is dope.
As a young kid, when you see something like that's the coolest thing I ever seen. So that's the character that I always remember whenever I think of Chrono Trigger, I think of that character because that's the character that I remember seeing. But mainly with Super NES was just going over to my cousin's house. Oh, and then Mortal Kombat 2. Because I remember when and then okay, I got stories about Mortal Kombat 2 and Street Fighter. So with Mortal Kombat 2, we used to go over to my other cousin's house because he had it. And we have like these family get-togethers, and they'd always play Mortal Kombat 2. And whenever I'd watch, my mom would be like, turn this way, you're not watching this game. So I had to literally turn this way, and I couldn't watch anything else happening on screen because it was too violent for me. I think I was like 6 or 7 when during that time. So I remember I used to always had to turn away. I couldn't look at anything what was happening on the screen. I hear all the but I couldn't hear. I couldn't watch anything.
The non-blood one too, because Sega had the blood and Super didn't have the blood.
No, that's reverse. It was reverse. It was reverse. The Super Nintendo had the gory part, but then the Sega was like,
was that on or was that on the? No, that might have been the second one then, because the first Super Nintendo one I don't remember having blood. I remember the Genesis one had it because that's what Sega was like.
Did they? I didn't know
doing on Nintendo for. Because it was like,
that's right,
the hardcore system. It's like I always say it, like I always thought that Sega was going to get bought up by Microsoft or they were going to collaborate only because they just seemed like the same.
It looked like that, yeah.
It seemed like the same thing.
When I saw Xbox, I went, that's Sega, but then it was like, no, that's another company that came out of nowhere with their own console, and here they are now.
Sonic and Master Chief as the mascots would have been pretty unstoppable. Sonic would have just had a home.
Pretty crazy. That'd been crazy. And then with Street Fighter 2, I remember, and it's in the house we're living in now because we were in our grandparents' old house. We like redid it and everything, but it's in this house in the same room, which is crazy. I remember my cousin was playing my mom in Street Fighter, right? And my mom didn't know how to play. So my cousin beat my mom, and I remember just seeing red, and I like jumped on my cousin. I was like, you don't do that. You don't beat my mom. And they had to carry me. They had to carry me out of the house, put me in my little, seat that had the little the thing here. And I that's all I remember. I remember seeing red, and just right when it was like that KO screen, I just snapped and I like jumped on my cousin. They carried me out, took me in the car, and I'm just like slamming on the thing because I'm just like, I don't know what the heck I snapped.
So it was a reason why your mom didn't want you. She was right. That's why she didn't want you to play.
It was there. It was there. It was there. I don't remember. I just snapped. It was like first I was on my cousin, and the next thing I remember, I'm in the car just yelling and screaming. I don't remember. All I remember, and I remember my mom had Chun-Li, and he used I think it was E Honda or it was Dawson, and I was just like, it was like in seconds. I was already on. I don't think no one knew what was like. I would think. I was kind of chilling at the time. So no one was looking at me, looking and seeing me biting my nails. I think I was just chilling. But in my mind, I'm like, if he beats my mom, he beats my mom in this game. And then once he did the second, and then it wasn't even like KO and then fall and he went. It was like KO. I was already over here already.
He was waiting.
It was like, I swear to you, it's just like something.
You just wanted to fight.
I don't remember. It was crazy.
That's
what I remember. But I mean, all my memories are just going over. I think I guess I can say all my memories of Super NES was with family because they were the ones who had it, and I think that's the one. Well, there's 2 Nintendo consoles I didn't own. I didn't own the Super NES or the Wii. So, but Super NES was something that I remember playing with family, and then also being in the hospital because I had asthma, and during that time, like the holiday season, it was just really bad. So I'd be hospitalized for like a month or two. And I remember they used to wheel in the TVs and it had Super NES, and I'd always I always play Super NES. And I remember I had my IV and I was playing, and my IV came out, and then we got to do it again. And then they had to put a pad on. They had to put a pad like a something on my hand, so this hand couldn't move, so I couldn't play anything. So I was mad as heck.
You had it bad, bro.
I tried to. Like, I swear to you, I was like, I tried, because I didn't have too many consoles that time. I think I had Sega, but that was given to me from my cousin. But I loved Nintendo back then. I thought Nintendo had cooler games on it, so whenever I had the chance, I tried to play. But yeah, but mainly the memories were just going over family. It was always being with family and playing with family. So,
but the plus side, they were memorable.
Yeah, they always were. There's another game, man, I can't think of, that was on the Super NES. I just can't remember. It was like this weird freaking game, weird fighting game. It was weird. I can't remember what the heck it was called. Yeah, it was a weird fighting game on it. It wasn't Killer Instincts. It wasn't a Primal Rage.
Clay
it wasn't
Fighter?
Primal Rage. No, it wasn't Clay Fighters.
Battletoads? No.
I remember Battletoads, but no. It was this weird fighting game my cousin had, and he had like a whole bunch of them, but only played like 3. But yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, that's really, it was like just hanging out with my cousin and playing Super NES, man. Like that's the only reason why I went over, was playing Super NES and we spent the night.
The experience where you guys got a game, or somebody bought you something, a Super Nintendo game, but it was just crap, and my brother bought a game when I was younger, of course in the Super NES times, and he bought me this hockey. I'm like, cool, hockey. I did not like hockey at all, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna play it. But then I was enjoying it for a moment, but in the hockey game, they kept throwing bombs at me. I'm like, what is this? Like, I'm playing this hockey Super Nintendo game. Yeah, they were throwing bombs in the ring. They were just, I'm like, what?
I thought you meant like bombs, like the metaphorical bombs, like swinging at you. That's what I'm like.
No, they were throwing bombs, like grenades. I thought he was talking about like
Bomberman, Konami.
I didn't think, because I was like, yeah, they fight. That's hockey. Yeah, that's hockey. But then you're like the literal sense of throwing bombs in the thing. And I'm like, that's crazy.
That's what they were doing.
Nintendo.
Throwing bombs at me. I'm like, what is this crap, man? Those moments that you have when you want to enjoy something because it was a gift, but then they ask you how was it? Oh, it was pretty good. Like, and just kind of walked away from it. But I don't know what happened to it. But for me, another part of my life was going to school. Me being the Super Nintendo guy, and there was, I don't know if you guys had the similar thing. You might have loved there's Genesis and Super around the same time, but you had those friends that were Genesis trying to dog you out because of your Super Nintendo love and things like that. But you always had to talk a lot of shit to back yourself up. But I was outnumbered with the Genesis kids, like there's about 3 of them versus myself. I think I might have one other person. But did you guys ever have a time where you were defending your Super Nintendo, or even if it was Genesis?
Yeah.
No.
Like man talk.
My childhood must have not been that eventful, because I had Pokemon versus Digimon, and I'll be, Digimon's better. I had those conversations, but I've never like I said, I wasn't young enough to kind of understand that, and plus I was in elementary school, so I don't think those conversations were even valid.
When I was Super Nintendo came out in 90 in Japan. I was 9. So I was 9 in 1991 when it came out here. And that's all we used to do. Is battle. Because I was a Nintendo guy. And what I didn't like, but that's the way, and they did it with Xbox too, is I went to elementary school for a minute out here in LA, and then I moved. But what they would try to do, some of my friends, is all the black folks liked Nintendo. I mean, not Nintendo, but
that Genesis was the thing. Oh my god,
it was black, and they were like, "Well, You like Mario? It's a kiddie game.
That
With
was
Sonic,
the thing.
you see how Sonic is? He's tapping his foot. He's waiting. He's cooler than him. And
I remember
Mortal
that.
Kombat got the blood on it, and the system strategy.
Oh my
You
gosh.
see Kid Chameleon? Did you know
I
Toe Jam and Earl
remember
got
that.
blood on it? Like,
I
I'm for real. I
remember
like Toe
that.
Jam and Earl, but I didn't like Toe Jam and Earl to Panic a Funkatron like it.
Oh my god.
But to answer your question, Chronos, it happened too much until Sega hit that wall it always hits, where it decides to make
Sega Saturn.
320 different peripherals for their console when they don't need it. And then they have a bonehead idea. Let's bring a Sega CD out without a Sonic game, and then a Sega Saturn out without a Sonic game.
Sega Saturn.
And Sega Saturn's a great system too, by the way. It still works. But yeah, we used to battle all the time because of that. Like I personally like Sonic as a character more than Mario, but Mario games are better and he's more consistent. I always call
Sadly,
Sonic,
I agree.
I say Sonic is the video game hoe. And why do I call him the video game hoe?
Because he's in everyone else's game.
He's everywhere. It's Sonic is 33 years old, bro. It's time to get married and settle down. He's on Xbox over here throwing rings. He's on Nintendo, three different different games. He's floating on the magic carpet ride with Aladdin. He's on the Wii. He's and then he's on 06, like kissing humans or humans kissing him.
That was weird how they did
everywhere.
that. I didn't like how they did 06. I think I get they tried to put Sonic in a romantic kind of thing, but that's just not who he was. And I think that when they tried to
not with a human, maybe with Sally Acorn.
I know somebody wants to marry Sonic.
But
she's in the same locked closet along with Gino, but never to be forgotten, never to be remembered again, but by me.
But I mean, I think Sally. I think after Dreamcast, like I think Sega just, even probably to this day, they're just like, let's just not have a console. But for a minute, everyone thought Sega was exclusive or Sonic was exclusive to Nintendo for a long time.
Well, Sega was smart. They figured that Sonic is a kid's game. Most kids buy it. Nintendo is a kiddie system. So we're going to put, and they were rivals. That's why they did the Mario and Sonic Olympics. Yeah. But you know what? I'm sorry. Before, because I've been waiting so patiently. They've been waiting here. Let me, please, gentlemen.
Sure.
Please. My top 10. Please. Say top 10.
All right.
Starting at number 10. And I got about 30 games, but I'm going to go 10.
Okay.
Looney Tunes B-Ball. I don't know if you guys ever played B-Ball.
No.
Yes. I played
Looney
it for
Tunes
Sega.
B-Ball is, I think I only don't have 2 of the games. No, I don't know where the other one is. Looney Tunes B-Ball came out mid-90s. Basically,
I remember that.
You could play with what I think it was 10 characters, Looney Tunes characters, Bugs, Daffy, no Porky, and I like Porky. Sylvester, Marvin the Martian, Taz, Wile E. Coyote, and each person said their own phrases. Like I used to go with my homie Bugs, because me and Bugs go way back to backpacks. And Bugs, of course, he was athletic. And this was before Space Jam, by the way.
Yeah.
Which I know that's dating. That's, oh my God. And then Marvin the Martian used to be my dude. I used to like Daffy because Daffy had good defense, but he was slow. And then each person would have their little ratings and what they can do. And then Marvin the Martian, he can shoot those corner threes. So when he shoots the corner threes, he goes boom. And then it just I always remember hitting those threes. And then when they were do defense, you can hear it go. Number 9, only because I haven't beat it. Super Metroid, the first lady of Nintendo. Finally glad she getting some love because Nintendo was starting to borderline sexist to me personally because they did. How can we ever, Nintendo, get a Zelda game, maybe Link's Quest, and we're starring Zelda and she can discover with her and Impa can go around and look at, the Sheikah's history, and she actually fights somebody that's not Ganon. Can we actually have something that deviates from the tried and true story? No, Nintendo's never going to do it because we're going to keep on buying it. Number 8, Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistros. It's not in this list, is it? Do I have it right here? I do. Look at me. Lufia. Speaking of ladies, one of my favorite all-time heroines in the game was my boo, Celine, the sergeant of her own town, who was strong enough to date the main hero when he was running behind her, Maxim. And she was like, I don't need you, bro. And when you do hook up with her, they actually had a baby in the game. You don't see them hunching, but they actually had a baby in the game, and then you see the legacy of what happens later, which end up taking place in 100 years later in the first game, Lufia. Screw you, Petey. He spoiled this game for me and Lufia. So I kind of think, he changed my gaming life by introducing me to all these role-playing games, but 9 out of 10, he ruined for me because, see, I make love to games. I get everybody clowns me about this. I make love to games. If you go look at I'm
with you on that one. I knew
650 hours in Fire Emblem 3 Houses, 222 hours in Xenoblade 2, close to 300 hours in Xenoblade. I do everything. I'm grown. I spend $60 and 65 cents or 11 cents on the dollar out here in California. I'm getting my money's worth. Yeah. I'm getting my money's worth. Number 7, Ryan, if you haven't played this one, Tales of Fantasia, quite possibly
that's a good one too.
My favorite Tales game. Tales of Fantasia, Tales of Symphonia, and then Tales of Destiny. If you have those are to me, and now I'm playing Tales of Vesperia, which is really good. Tales of Vesperia is really good. I just met the Dragoon girl, and she half naked.
Judith.
But we've been on quarantine, so I'm just gonna get off that subject. But Tales of Fantasia is your tried and true type of over 100 years stuff that was going on and everything that's happening where your parents were fighting. And then I'm not going to spoil it for nobody, but your parents were fighting. And now this evil guy comes back. I actually screwed up because I didn't beat the game. I actually screwed up and seen the ending. And I shouldn't have. And it's actually one of the better Super Nintendo endings. Like it had a nice little twist. But the combat, it was revolutionary. And for those of you guys who, I'll get to that game later after I finish this. With number 6, I got a question for you, Chrono. Number 6, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. My first Zelda game I beat officially. I have the 2, Link's Awakening. I think, it was what was it? Part 2, the Legend of what was it? Link, what was the second one? The hard one? I can't remember.
Oh, Zelda
on NES.
Zelda 2 Adventure.
Was it Adventure Link?
Yeah, I think
on the NES. The second
part 2.
Yeah, that's part. Yeah, the one that had the blue on it, the blue writing, because the first one had the red writing, and then the second one was the gold.
Zelda 2 Adventure.
So I didn't beat either one of those, but I did beat Link to the Past, and you see it's number 7. But in the beginning of the game, maybe I was too young, I missed it, and nobody's able to tell me. Maybe you guys can help me. In the beginning of the game, the first 15 minutes, Link's uncle gives him the sword. He dies. He says, Zelda is your. And I beat the game, and I don't know what Zelda is to him. I still, to this day, don't know what Zelda is to Link. Not only in Link to the Past, but my dude ain't got no play in 30 years. Bro, you've been friend zone, homie. It's time to move on to number 6. I didn't give you a chance to answer the question, though. We can go back. Secret of Mana. I couldn't find my multi-tap because I was going to bring my multi-tap out to show you guys. The multi-tap they started on the Nintendo, but it wasn't as many games to play for it. And then with Secret of Mana, me, Petey, and Daniel, and I think Eric sometimes, we used to play Secret of Mana, plug all 3 controllers in, and I like to be the hero. Petey, for whatever reason, he always wanted to be the girl. I don't know, whatever, bro. And it wasn't that he liked dudes. It was that he just always wanted to be the girl. I don't know. Maybe he was thirsty. And then whoever else would be the sprite. But Secret of Mana with the music from Flammy, from the Revolutionary Battle System, which 3 of the games I've already named is like Square Enix games almost. So, or 4 of them on the list is Square Soft, which is better than Square Enix to me. Games. This game was like I don't even know how to explain it, because you can play multiple people, and it was a great community game, like a LAN party game. But then it had really good. The story wasn't all that great, but what it was just, you're going around, leveling up swords, level up weapons to, of course, it's an RPG, stop the impending doom of this ancient civilization. And you can get Undyne, and you can get a gnome, and you can get all these other different summon spells. Number 5, Earthbound. I don't know where my book is, but it came with a big box, and you got a scratch and sniff book. One of the reasons that I loved Earthbound, and one of the reasons that Ness on Smash Brothers is still one of my go-to dudes, is because of Earthbound. And okay, like Ness was a G. Like Ness, the whole story of Ness is just amazing from this, because it's real day RPG. Your dad calls you on the phone, he's a deadbeat, but he does send you money, so I guess it's child support. Oh my gosh. You had a dog, you had three best friends, and you go around the world trying to stop the world from the evil Gaius. And Ness and his 3 friends are psychic, and they are trying to prevent that. And you're going to go to these 8 artifacts or 8 natural things, like a big foot or like some kind of water well. I can't remember everything. I haven't beat the game in like 20 years. But it had some sequels. Well, Mother 3, we're still waiting for the localization for that. Number 3. Did I skip one? I can't remember. Super Mario RPG. My favorite Mario game.
That was
the only gripe I have about that game is Mario doesn't talk. He couldn't say anything. He couldn't say nothing. He could have said something. It's like when I've been streaming it. A matter of fact, I have to go back and do it. Yeah. But when I was streaming it, I voiced him because it annoyed me that they made Mario silent. Like, come on,
he's a typical JRPG protagonist in it, which is weird.
That's true.
What Mario, bro? What's the pasta? But Gino talked, Peach talked, and Peach and Bowser got along. The reason why I liked this game so much, and the reason why I don't touch Paper Mario, because I bought the first one and was sadly disappointed. They say it's the same, it's never the same. Superstar Saga, okay, that's one of the diamond in the rough, but Mario and Rabbids, no, I'm not gonna mess with it. It's a reason why a game is $10 now. It might be good, but it's a reason. Mario RPG came out in '96. It's still not $10. Well, when a game drops in price real quick, you can tell.
I'm gonna argue that real quick. The reason Mario plus Rabbids is always dropping price, because that's how Ubisoft does their. Ubisoft always drops their prices or discounts their stuff like a month or two after their release. They all I don't know if, because like even with their best selling games, they still do it. Like I think a month or two after Valhalla and Watch Dogs came out, they did, hey, get these for 20% off. I'm like, didn't they just come out? But
Starlink, like a month after it came out, was discounted.
It was discounted because and Starlink was one of their. I think Starlink was like one of their better selling games during that time, especially on the Switch. But I think that's just what they do. I don't know if it's. I never understand, if it's because their games, because they do it for all their titles. But that's my only argument, is I think because they dropped the price on Mario plus Rabbids. I think Mario plus Rabbids was another one of their best selling games. But I think they just do it. I think just because they just want everyone to experience. Of course, they'll have their. Do it because of the their MSRP, whatever. But I think because they want everyone to play their game, experience it, they'll drop it once in a while, and it'll be like 20 or 40%. And you're like, didn't this game just come out? And it's like that's what Ubisoft does, strangely. But that's my argument. But that's my argument about that.
My counter argument with that is that's why Ubisoft is not as a predominant company as Square Soft was, or even now Square Enix, for some of the business practices and things that it does, and that's also to go nowadays, which this whole thing that everybody's doing with digital. That's why they want to get rid of GameStop and all these places that we're buying these games from, just like Ryan was saying earlier. They're tapping games because they want, as us, the consumer, to buy multiple things. They don't want to sell. They don't want to drop prices. Everything is about this, and they want to get the most out of it.
Of course.
And for me, with Ubisoft, it's just a personal vendetta. And even though that's the reason I end up switching to stream on Twitch, Ubisoft shadow flagged me during Final Fantasy VII R's trailer, during their press conference, as well as Nintendo.
Ubisoft did that while you were doing it?
Because I was streaming some boneheaded, I don't know what game. I think it was Watch Dogs 2 and that other game, and they just shouted. They did it to me. They did it to Obi-Wan Plays. They did it to Player Assets.
Obi-Wan.
Like, I think Spawn Wave got hit too. But by me being a smaller channel, this was in 2019. So they hit me, and I had a Twitch channel, but I hadn't used it like that. So right when I'm, you know how, like, say we all getting ready now, gear up, right? Come on, hey, let's get ready. And then we're streaming it, and then they just shut you down with no reason. That's was Ubisoft. So since then, I was like, I'm cool off of you. Do I need Watch Dogs? No, because they had too many bugs on it. But that's in Mario Rabbids. You know what? The reason why I have a it's like Piranha Plant with Gino. Honestly, is people will make the excuse to me. I'm not saying you guys are doing that. That this is the spirit successor to Mario RPG. That Mario Rabbids is, and I don't give a damn about no Rabbids.
I don't think about that. Like I thought it was just an original game that Ubisoft was like, hey, we have this game. Because it's based off, if you know their tactical RPG XCOM, and you look at XCOM and look at this game, they're fairly similar in many ways in combat. So when I first saw, like, I've never played Mario RPG. I've heard about it plenty of times. Back then I never played any Paper Mario game. But when I saw this, the first thing I thought about was, oh, this is XCOM gameplay. Oh, Ubisoft does XCOM. Okay, now I can see the similarities. So that's what I thought. Anyone else who says, you know, it's a spirit successor to RPG, I think they're that's a huge oversight. That's a huge oversight.
Mario Rabbids. Oh,
that's a huge oversight.
Back when you used to have instruction manuals.
Yeah, right.
When they actually had art and they actually told you how to play the game for free.
Yeah,
since you're already spending $65.
The whole entire story.
And then now they give you this bulky thick thing for like $30, like $20 off from the actual game you could have bought.
1992.
But anyways, I didn't mean to stop it. I just wanted to get that point.
I only got two games left. If you guys, you probably already know what two they
are. If we got time after, I'll come back to the Mario Rabbids thing. But
okay,
Final Fantasy 3. If it was not for Final Fantasy 6. If it wasn't for Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy. Well, you know, it does say 3 in America. They thought we were
that
idiots.
tripped me out because you said 3, and I'm like, I thought you liked 6.
Oh no, it is. You know, I've never played 3. I played 1, 4,
and
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way up. But some of the other ones I didn't want to. I thought about playing 5 with Bart, but then I don't care because I really don't want to read. One day I might go back and like do some kind of retro stream with them all, but no. If it wasn't for this, which, you know, we'll get into that one. If it wasn't for this probably would be my favorite game of all time. It just happens that I played this before this. They didn't have this one at Video Zone, and Daniel was borrowing this one while I was renting this one. So that's how that easily could have went either way, because this is still under the tutelage of Hanabaru Sakagachi, the godfather of Square Enix, Squaresoft. And since he's left, Final Fantasy hasn't been the same, in my opinion.
I agree.
I expect that. I
agree with that very much.
That's they took the we don't want to see love in Final Fantasy. Well, what do you think made Final Fantasy so great? Was because humans fall in love, right? Like,
that makes sense. Yeah, because if you think about it, all the protagonists had somebody. You know what I mean? And then now, I think after 12, that wasn't a thing anymore. because
These
12
constellations.
because 12 it was oh man, oh
12,
that's
yeah.
X-Men.
Oh,
We
my
used to
Lord.
Mutant
play the heck.
Apocalypse.
We used to play the heck out of it, and we never beat it because it was too freaking hard. It was always Psylocke that always got me stuck. Psylocke
Yeah,
always got
baby,
me
there we
stuck.
go.
Turtles
That's
in
the one.
Time.
But yeah, I think it was after 12, after Vaughn and what's her name? That was it. We didn't
trying
see
to
that
get it.
anymore.
Put it back up.
We didn't see that anymore. But yeah, I get you. You're right about that.
Four.
You're right about that.
And then before I let it go, I have to mention these honorable mentions. Star Ocean, the original Star Ocean, which they just did a remake. This was when the Tales company and Triace, when they were merged. That's why, if you guys know, that they all, but both of their battle systems and the Tales games and Stars games, they're similar. Almost so similar. Well, because they used to be the same. It's kind of like, with the Square group that left
and Monolith.
Monolith. They were, some of the people was the same people. So that's why the battle systems are like that open battle system with like action based, but you're still within like a perimeter. And it has that whole anime feel, and they usually almost drop around the same time, even though Tales is just crazy. It's like 22 something Tales. And
I
so
think
like their
last Star Ocean wasn't as wasn't as good as it, because I didn't play all of them, but I played enough of them to be like, okay, I'm a Star Ocean fan. I think Star Ocean is like another series that's underrated.
It is.
It's a good series, but I think 5 didn't do it for me like the other ones did. Like I ended up getting Star Ocean, the Star Ocean Departure R for the Switch. And I'm like, I remember playing that. Like I remember playing that, but when it first came out. And getting it again, I'm like, I remember half of the stuff in there. But yeah, you're right. They're Star Ocean and Tales are like the same. And I have a question for you, Geek. After we're done, if we have more time, I have a question for you, real quick about Tales. But proceed.
Ryan,
Donkey Kong Country 2.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm almost done. Donkey Kong Country 2, NBA Jam.
Oh, Jam!
Oh Lord.
He's heating up, grabs the rebound, head fake from downtown.
Yes,
that's like the greatest line. The greatest line, where it's like,
he's heating up. He's on fire.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord, I gotta get that. I gotta go find that again.
I played Heat for the first time on Dreamcast.
Lufia. Mario World changed the game literally because it was a world instead of just. Even though Mario 3 under Mario RPG is my favorite Mario. Mario All-Stars. I already talked about Star Ocean, Mario Kart. You guys already mentioned Contra 3, the Super Game Boy, the multi-tap with the Super Bomberman. I used to battle on that 4 players, the red, white, blue, and then the FX shit. Can't forget about Star Fox. Can't forget about Yoshi's Island, even though Baby Mario cried like you know. And another strategy game that was Square did, which was really underrated, and I actually got an Android because I could play the ROMs on the Android like years ago, and that was Bahamut Lagoon. Bahamut Lagoon is actually a really good. It's kind of like Tactics before Tactics. So if you guys haven't played that, like you just want to goof around, if you can get it, localized, which I think you can still find it, in English. That's really one to play around with, and then Second and Densetsu 3, which they just made the remake of the Trials of Mana that just came out for the Switch, like not too long ago. Of course, Street Fighter, F-Zero, Pilot Wings. I mean, the Super Nintendo had so many games that just revolutionized and set a page that it's got me gamer sweat. Like I'm sweating, so I'm just gonna let y'all talk now because my list is complete.
I have a quick question for you. Now we talked about Tales of Games plenty of times, about just which ones were great, which ones are our favorite. What do you think about Tales of Arise? Like, I think Tales of Arise is a game that's totally different. They're built on a whole different engine. to where they can be able to do a lot more with everything. If you've seen anything on it or if you heard of it, what do you think of this new Tales of Arise game that's coming in September?
I think that it has a possibility to rival Final Fantasy. Maybe not like right now, but Tales has a really nice base. And Final Fantasy has geared towards, which a lot of people don't like. I'm still going to buy it if I can ever get a PlayStation 5. But they're just focused on 7 right now and online. And they haven't really tried anything kind of new. So Tales has been consistent since then. Like it's like 20-something games. When from 2001, after Hanabu Sakagachi left, that's when they start making sequels after the whole Square Enix, the Spiritual Within crumbled, which I like the movie. That's when they start making it get cheaper, and then they start letting Naruma, Tetsuya Naruma, like be the director. I love his art style, but I'm not big on his direction style. I think that with the updated graphics, and taking it from from just like your cell shading to more of it's still anime looking, but it looks more kind of like Kakarot type. Polished graphics,
anime style.
Polygon. I think that in the open world, I think that it has the possibility to shock a lot of people. And if it keeps the Tales, it could be that Symphonia type game for a lot of people, like that Tales for the generation.
The first one,
and then Destiny. It was Fantasia for Super, Destiny for PlayStation 1, and then the GameCube had Symphonia. Xbox had Vesperia, and what would be the one for this generation's? Which would be?
I think this one. I think it would be between. I think it'd be Berseria. I think it'd be Zestiria or Berseria.
Okay, yeah, a lot of
one of those. It'll be one of. I think it would. No, I think Berseria would be better because not a lot of people like Zestiria. It was good, but I think Berseria. I like Berseria. Berseria was like probably one of the darkest Tales that I have played because of the direction that they decided to go with the story. And it was like, it's cool because I like Berseria because everyone you meet has a chip on their shoulder. Like everyone you run into has some kind of chip on their shoulder. And that's why they're all good together, because unfortunately everyone has a chip on their shoulder. Everyone has a chip on their shoulder. But yeah, I agree. I always, this is just me, I always thought it was Final Fantasy and Tales of. I always thought they were like the two that would never meet but are destined to one day. And like, to say which one would be the best. That's how I always looked at it.
Persona 5 changed a lot of the picture. Persona 5 is the Final Fantasy 7 of Atlas.
100%.
It checked all the markers.
100%. I agree. All right, yeah, because I knew about Persona before, but I've never played a game. I never had the opportunity to play a game. But then when I saw 5, I'm like, okay, cool. 5 looks good. And then when I saw you can collect different personas, I'm like, okay, I like that. All right, let's do it. Let's give it a try. And I absolutely loved it. So I agree. Like, I think Persona 5 is like the equivalent of Final Fantasy. Persona 5 is their Final Fantasy 7 for Atlas. Definitely. But I know Ryan had a question, so I don't want to take too much time on my talk.
I don't have a question. I just had some.
Or your discussion of
brief
Mario
thoughts, not even discussion, just like I get the whole Ubisoft thing, like based on what happened. I get why that would be something that you wouldn't be fond of them. And as we kind of said, interjected while you're talking, Geek, absolutely, Mario Rabbids is not in any way, shape, or form a spiritual successor to Mario RPG. I don't get where people are.
Me neither.
Like why people would say that. I honestly don't get it. And I've played the main game and the DLC all the way through, so it's not like I have not missed something in that game. Like I mean, I've missed collecting certain things just because what was needed to get them, I didn't feel was worth. I got the enjoyment out of it that I was going to get, but like, I didn't miss anything content wise. They are not similar games at all.
Yeah, I didn't.
If you're going to compare them at all, it's like a similarly surprising, I guess, thing to do with the Mario franchise, and for what it is, it pays off well. Like, I would be an advocate for anyone to give it a chance in terms of just the value of that game itself, outside of any feelings towards Ubisoft or any like I hated the rabbits going into it. I still overall hate the rabbits, but the way they're portrayed in that game is actually like, it's not just another stupid Minions type knockoff idea.
It
like
gives it
there's
like
actual
a comic
character.
relief.
Yeah,
Like
there's
comic
actual
relief.
character added to even like the minion enemy, like the grunt enemies that you fight. So I mean, it has a certain value and a certain charm to it.
Yeah.
I guess like I said, the only comparison I would make is no one expected, like before Mario RPG, no one expected Mario to be in an RPG. And I'm sure there were people at the time, I can't say with any certainty, but I'm sure there were people at the time like, why are you doing this with Mario? And it paid off hugely. Mario Rabbids does not pay off to that same degree, but it produces a good, solid, like,
it's different.
Hesitant to give grades to games, but like what you would expect an 8 out of 10 type of game to, like, it does the whole XCOM tactical shooter thing well. And it's its own unique kind of like take your turn with your characters type of gameplay. So I guess maybe that is where but it's a totally different style of turn-based than RPG. It's not at all the same. I would highly recommend the game to anyone who's willing to give it any kind of chance. It's entertaining for what it is, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I'm
super excited for the sequel.
I've seen people play it. The homegirl Mandy, I watched her beat it online, and it seemed and I love tactical games. I think most everybody was saying it because it's an RPG. You know, RPGs, what you know, Ryan, Kotetsu, CHRONOZ, you guys know, play RPGs. RPGs gets the biggest, it gets the worst rap. Honestly,
it does.
It's like, so if you see one game that's turn-based or one, they consider everything. So Mario, that's what people were telling me, that all Paper Marios are Mario RPG. Mario Rabbids. Well, you keep talking about Geno. Well, they made Rabbids. That's not the same game. And one of the reasons it's not the same game is because Nintendo has openly said, we don't want to do anything that has to do with story anymore. We're going to give you our Mario characters and you're going to like them. They're not going to talk. They're going to be based around, our central story. See, that's my gripe with it. My gripe with a lot of games, not just this particular, like, give me the reason why the Mario RPG is my favorite Mario. It did something different. It was not.
It has story substance for
sure. About Bowser's Fury. Yes, the gameplay is great, Nintendo. I get it. Yes, I'm going to buy Breath of the Wild 2, but baby, I just need a little bit of something more. Like,
I get that.
Can I? Yes, Metroid Prime was a successful game, but it was really Halo with Samus Aran. If we, I mean, it came out the same, like Halo. Man. Halo changed.
I've never heard that comparison.
Grandmama ran out to do first-person shooters with story, right?
That's crazy. I've never heard that comparison. And when you look at that,
go back. Go back. I'm not just. I mean, go back. Go back on GameCube.
I've never heard that comparison, but I can feel where he's coming from with that.
I can kind of get where he's coming from. It's kind of the same as the Mario RPG thing for me, honestly.
Had the same when they were doing not Zelda, when they were doing Metroid. If you guys remember, was it the late 1990s or early 2000s? They were doing Metroid, and they had an action 2D. Shigeru Miyamoto walked in the office, said, "Scratch it. Do something different." Well, what was hot on them streets during that time?
Halo
Well,
was.
guess what? It was a guy named Master Chief that revolutionized first-person shooters
with story.
And
with the story.
that's when everything's a copycat league. They had SOCOMs, they had Call of Duties, they had Rainbow Sixes, but they wasn't popping like that until Halo came up, and then that's when Halo came around. That's when first-person shooters became literally the
genre,
video game, the AAA titles.
Yeah, the genre. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. Now, if you're a gamer, we don't get on that. Ooh, you date somebody like, ooh, I play video games. What you play? Oh, Call of Duty. Oh.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly that.
One thing I can say about Halo and Metroid Prime, for being first-person shooters, they have a story. I don't like first-person shooters, but Halo has a great story.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, like I'm playing through the first one right now.
I guess like where you lose me a bit on that argument, and where I go more like it's like Mario RPG and Mario Rabbids is, I mean, even Nintendo advertised Metroid Prime, and the follow-up says first-person adventures, and like you shoot in it, yes, and I mean, sure, technically you get ammo in 2 specifically, but like the shooting is really just to like empty whatever, like there's not more shooting in my opinion in a Prime game than there is in like the standard 2D Metroid, like not significantly. It's still got the same amount of like puzzles and different, like the different gameplay that it felt like a Metroid in 3D.
Yeah, it felt like a Metroid game. I agree, but my point is, what I was just saying is, I was about to bring it up. To me, it's the same thing. Like I'm not saying these are different. They're different, but
they're very
similar. Okay, this is popular and people like it, so let's just kind of it's not the same thing. It's got 2 more, shoulders. It's got we'll change this to that. It feels like Metroid. But we didn't know that Metroid had any shooting, properties until then. Like now, if they came out before Halo, or if it was, for me, it's just like during that time, it was just all Halo. I remember being in college during that time with all them LAN parties, and it was Halo. And so every company was like, we got to do something. Like they did the same thing. We're not gonna go through the blonde hair revolution, the blonde spiky hair during the 90s. That's the same thing. All you need is one dude or one thing to do it, and everybody's gonna be like, okay, so how can I take this idea and spin it to my own thing? And I'm not saying it's a bad idea, because truthfully, I mean, maybe not now because Nintendo's being Nintendo with Samus, but during that time, Samus had a richer archives of story and games than Master Chief and Halo did. It ain't really like that now. Maybe it's arguable, you can argue it, but now, like seriously, Master Chief and Halo is a bigger franchise than Metroid. That's at least how I see it. And what I used to do,
I think you're right.
I used to have the I don't know if it's over here anymore, the switcher. I used to put Prime on, Halo on, Shenmue on Dreamcast, and then I would have like Soul Calibur 2 on GameCube, and I would flick them so I can see the graphics. I wasn't paying the electricity. This was when I was in school, so I would flick them and see which one was which, and then I used to just watch the games on loop, and then just being a student of video games. But that's just how I seen it. I just seen that. I personally, for me, I would like to see aspects of like I really wanted to see aspects of first person shooting, but I wanted to see a full space 3D adventure Samus Aran. That's what I wanted to see. Like a lot of people hated Other M. I liked Other M.
Oh, I loved Other M too.
It wasn't a perfect game, but
Yeah,
at
it was
least
good.
they
I liked
tried something new.
Yeah.
You know, and that was what my
the
my
gameplay was
thing
good.
And
The gameplay was good. The story
I
I
like
didn't care
switching.
for.
the,
The story, though, from my issues with the story were the writing and the way that it was. Like you could have done that story a lot better and done it more justice. There was definitely a good game there, and it's the hate for it is piled on how this, not just the story, but specifically how the story is presented.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people hate me on this podcast because I'm the modern person, so I'm always like, you know, I'm always backing the modern age of things. But I thought Other M was an awesome introductory to the classic Metroid game, but with a new polish of 3D and gameplay mechanics. And I think that's what I loved about it. Like I remember I never had a Wii U, but I bought it when I was with my cousins. I bought it and I went and I took his Wii U and I went in another room and I sat in that room and I played Other M for 2 days straight to the point where I've already I finished it because I just like I stayed. He was going to play something. I'm like, nah, man, I'm playing this. He's like, all right, cool. And to the point where he was like, I thought you came to hang out. I'm like, you can come in and hang out with me. Like I don't know what's stopping us from hanging out. You can come and hang out and watch me play this. But you know that I think that's why I loved Other M so much, because it was something that was just different. And I think it was something that I was a little bit looking forward to because and I've said this before on here,
like controllers.
I like the 2D Metroid games better than Prime, the first person. That's why I'm so excited for Dread, because it's given me a 2D platformer again, and I have the 2D classic Metroid in a new look, and it's a sequel to 4, which is Fusion, which I love Fusion. But you know, I'm always a person who's like, you know, I love seeing games or companies taking a modern look at their franchise and trying to make it appealing to. And I think I mentioned it before where we're talking about something, and I said, you know, they don't want that old money. They're looking for how can we, of course everyone who's played Final Fantasy 7 who love Final Fantasy 7 are going to buy this game, of course. But how are we going to appeal to the gamers of this generation? Let's make it like this. And they did it right. And it was perfect. And that's what Final Fantasy 16 is going to look like. That's what 17 is going to look like until they do something different. I don't know what, but until they do something different. And what else? You know, with all other genres, you know, it's like for me, I'm always interested in what are you going to do with this series. I don't even care if you don't do how I liked it before. What are you going to do? Oh, you're doing it like that? Yeah. Okay, yeah, okay, I see. Like the Tales of series. I've been a big fan of Tales of series since Symphonia, and it's always been that 2D combat locked into an arena. And then I think Tales of Vesperia was the first to kind of give you that 360 until Berseria, and then Berseria changed it a little bit with the different button schemes and everything. But when I saw Arise, I'm like, yo, this is what Arise is gonna look like. Okay, and then I learned that they have a brand. They're not using what they were using another, and they're going to Unreal now because they used another engine before. Now they're going to Unreal, which is going to make the game even better. So I'm like, okay, cool. I like the direction going. Like same with Final Fantasy. I like the direction they're going to because they're trying to appeal to me, to a person who I don't mind turn-based games. I still enjoy those, but to make a game, to modernize a genre and still make it good. Now going back to Geek saying the story wise, that's what I think. That's why I love the Tales of series, because their stories are always good. They're not, I guess they're not linear, but there's always like something where it's like I didn't expect that. Zestiria is like the basic bread and butter born hero who's supposed to say, okay, you already know that's gonna go. But not to go too far off tangent. But but I like seeing series modernize and see what they can do and see how they can change gameplay to fit something that makes
something good comes out of it for sure.
Good, you know. So that's why I like what they're doing with Final Fantasy, what they're doing now, because I think it's a great idea. You know, I didn't like what they do with Resident Evil, but I get it. So that's why I'm like, all right, it's going to. But anyway, another podcast I can talk about that. I can talk about that.
To kind of spring off that real quick and tie back to something that Geek said. I would agree, like that. My issues with 7 Remake specifically, and largely to do with plot things I've become aware of, not have necessarily like things I've found online and that. I don't think the gameplay. Yeah, I absolutely agree. The issues with 7 Remake, in my opinion, are not. It's a plot thing. But like what Geek was saying, absolutely, it's a very different Square than we used to have. They've lost what. I'm hesitant to say this because I still love them and I appreciate that like they came back to. I appreciate they came back to Nintendo, and that's why Switch would be my third of like Super Nintendo, GameCube, and Switch are the core. My best Nintendo experiences, and I have a hard time picking between them. I appreciate they came back. I appreciate I got to play 10 and especially 12 for the first time. 12 and 7 are my top Final Fantasies.
Oh yeah, 12 is
bar
great.
none. And then to get to play 7, 8, and 9 on Switch is amazing on a Nintendo system for the first time. But since Sakaguchi left, they lost the kind of core feel, I guess, of what, like, it doesn't have to be turn-based gameplay, but they lost the actual like feeling of love being conveyed properly in the stories. I agree. Because like you have like Noctis, but he's supposed to be getting married. But
they kill her off like in the middle of the game, and then it's like, all right, what are you gonna do? Like, you know, where's your love interest?
Yeah,
that's a whole. She died in the middle of the story.
I could do a whole segment like how much of a missed opportunity that was, how unfinished that product
with Final
is,
Fantasy,
and how they had to like add paid DLC to complete the story that should have been released in the first place.
And that's my problem. That's my problem with Kingdom Hearts, but I'm not going to talk about that because I'll take another hour.
Yeah, we could do like a back and forth rant.
That's my problem with Kingdom Hearts 3.
And see, that's a lot of under Naruma. That's what they want him to do.
Nomura,
it's easy to do the engines because it costs too much money for them to. Nintendo does. That's why they're never going to make Link talk. That's why they scared as hell about Dread. They're hoping and praying people buy it. I'm gonna buy it. I know all of y'all are probably gonna buy it.
I'm buying it. Special edition.
People are scared. They're scared because they don't want to shell out all this money in years of time and nobody buys it, which is understandable, but that also is in-house because that means you got to make that quality better. I went and grabbed this, which let me get the dramatic Miss
I've
Walker.
never played Last Story. You've told me so many things about Last Story. You've told me so many things about Last Story.
This is Sakaguchi. This look at this. Even though my box, I'm ashamed that I moved a few times. But look, it's popped out. It's look at the side. It actually has a book. I mean, it has an art book. He hasn't made another one. Like, I would like to see this on I got cussed out on what was it? Wasn't a podcast. We're playing Smash Brothers because I said Nintendo needs to make this another exclusive game. What do you mean make an exclusive game? It should go on PlayStation. I'm like, but the first one was only on Nintendo. I'm like, it's just like Octopath, and it's not every game gets
it. Won't come out right away, or they can go what Platinum did, and they took their Wonderful 101 just say we're gonna do it on all of them.
It's what you gentlemen would like. It's turn-based, and it's action based, and it's Metal Gear Solid type stealth base involved, and you have 6 party members you can play with at the same time and controlling, and it has a pretty solid plot. It's hard for me not to say this is my favorite Wii game. The only reason I would say that Xenoblade is a better game is because of the open world. Xenoblade is the Japanese version of Skyrim. Well, that and Breath of the Wild. It's so huge, and it's so much to do that it's hard to, because this game is a little more linear because you're stuck in like the city. What is it? Because her name is Lady Callista. You're stuck in like her kingdom, and it's different stuff that you go through, but you don't get really explore the entire world, and that's what we were hoping for, another game. But this one is what Final Fantasy should be now, kind of thing. Forward. I'm not really excited about 16 yet. Fair enough. They haven't. For me, they haven't shown us anything that they haven't shown. It's not even that they showed me enough. They ain't show me nothing I ain't seen before. A pretty boy that's got a sword, and he's dealing with a.
And you know what's crazy?
I played 12. I played 13. I played 14. Matter of fact, I'm paying on it, and I haven't even been playing it. 11. You need to. 7, 8, 9. All of them, except like 3. We're okay. Can I get something else? Can I get something else? They're never going to do any diversity. I'm going to have to make the game myself. Have a black protagonist. But can we get something else? Anything like that's? I don't know. For me, it just seems like you said, Ryan. It just seems like they're kind of just hitting that same. We're just in that same little pocket. Okay, we're making money. We're going to keep on doing it. We're making money. We're gonna keep on doing it. Yeah. So, are we gonna we're gonna make Intergrade? If that wasn't the stupid, I can't even get a PlayStation 5. I got the money to buy one. I can't buy that.
I'm upset they did that. I'm upset they did that too. Yeah. And like you said, that's just what they are. But anyway, I don't want to take up too much. How long have we been going for?
We're already 2 hours and 4 minutes. Guys, real quick, 2 hours and 4 minutes.
Finish up the thought that I had.
I want to ask a quick question real fast based on Super Nintendo. It's real quick. Super Nintendo Online, what are the 2 games? I'm going to give mine 2 games. What are the 2 games that you wish they were on there now? For me, Batman Returns and Turn Time. What would be your choices for Super Nintendo Online? Because sometimes I'm like, man, where's all the good shit? Because there's some good games and a lot of it's just crap.
Let me just say, I think, and I don't know, I haven't looked on their library much, but I feel like a lot of the stuff that's on there are their property only.
Yeah.
I think it's just Nintendo only. So because Turtles in Time was developed by Konami.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can say the same thing about the Final. I don't know if any Final Fantasies are on there.
No, there are no Final Fantasies, no Chrono Trigger.
So that's why I think, So that's why I think, so that's why I think that they're sticking with their own IP. So that's why we're never gonna see. I hope that. I mean, it would be cool to see Turtles in Time, but I think the new Turtles game is coming out. That's gonna take my Turtles in Time high away. But honestly, I don't know. For me, I guess the ones that I played are the ones that are on there. Donkey Kong Country and Super Mario World. Like those they're on there already.
Those are good.
They're on there already. So I mean, I don't and just like I said, I never had a Super NES, so I can't really say the games that I would wish to have. All I know is that the games that I did play that were Nintendo properties are on there. So
yeah,
mine is simple: Chrono Trigger, Tales of Fantasia.
Yeah, you're right. Chrono Trigger.
Yeah,
that's my third.
I would say Chrono Trigger and probably, I don't know, it's a toss-up between FF6 and Super Mario RPG. I want the FF series, like, go back and do 1 through 6, ideally on Switch. That would be the worst way to get it on Switch Online, because eventually that service is gone and all our access to the games
I
are
love
gone. So
Final
at least if
Fantasy.
you got to download, you can keep it. But if that's the only way we can get it, still like give that to me. Give it to me.
I mean, if you got Final Fantasy VII on the Switch, the original, I don't know why they can't, put some of the older, Super NES versions or something like that.
Yeah, the originals, there's no reason they can't. The reason they just haven't taken the time to. I mean, they can
need
take.
to.
There's versions on Steam now, and the Pixel remasters that they announced are also easily portable. They just haven't taken the time to do it. There's no reason why they can't. There is no they can't. It's very feasible to run those.
I'm sure they just want to see how that goes on the
Beyond the Pro.
before they want to see how these of those go on Steam before they're like, all right, it's going well on Steam. People want it on Switch. Okay, we'll put it on Switch.
But the thing where that doesn't entirely pan out for me is like, so why then? There's versions already on mobile and already on Steam, so they have sales records. Why? Sure, they want the sales records for the Pixel remasters, but that as much as you're probably right, that explanation for me, that's not. It's not a fully justified.
Yeah, I mean,
and
we can never say why. All we can do is kind of assume and be like, all right, like real quick, like not even to take any more time, like to go back to I always bring this up, and it's always the funniest thing to me in the world. It goes back to the remake of Diamond and Pearl. How everyone was like, yeah, we're gonna get a Diamond and Pearl. Like we want Diamond and Pearl. We want Diamond and Pearl. We want Diamond and Pearl. We want a Diamond and Pearl. We want a Diamond and Pearl remake. No one said how they wanted it. They said Game Freak and was like, all right, you want a Diamond and Pearl remake? Cool. We're not going to do it, but we're going to have this team do it for you guys while we make another game. Hey, give them a Diamond and Pearl remake exactly how we have it, because that's what they wanted. And then what happened last year? We got a Diamond and Pearl remake. When I saw it, I was like, yo, I was live and I said, yo, this is what you guys wanted. You guys wanted a Diamond and Pearl remake? There it is. Yeah. That's what you guys asked for. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people we want, and I'm not saying this is the reason, but just to kind of look at it from their standpoint, they're like, okay, they're asking for this. They didn't say what for. Everybody wants it. Okay, what's the not? I don't know if this is true, but like, what's the easiest thing to put it on right now? What's what has a bigger player base? Oh, PC does. Let's put it on Switch. Let's put it on PC. What does everyone have? A phone. I'm gonna do this. What does everyone have? A smartphone.
Yeah.
Let's put it on a smartphone. So that's probably how they're doing it. And then if they see how that goes, they're probably gonna be like, all right, we're gonna
remember Mario Rush made a lot of money. Mm-hmm. That Mario game for the phone, for the iPhone, and Mario Run made a lot of money, and
I'm sure they are trying to see like what they're most likely to get the biggest install base on. That said, unlike Diamond and Pearl, the fan base was pretty clear. Like, we want this Nintendo for the history, and PlayStation because PlayStation has has Final Fantasy. That's where people wanted it. There is no unclarity there.
Yeah.
And that is online, and you can see the reactions following that announcement are all on par with that. So there is no. They know where we want it.
Yeah, I thought it was funny because everyone was like, we want a remaster of this, and this, and I'm pretty sure they could, but they were working on another game, so they're working on Arceus. So they're like, you know what? Please give them this, and I'm pretty sure they did it too because Arceus is a game that's prequel to Diamond and Pearl, but they just couldn't do it, so they just had another developer was like, can you just make them this? I laughed too. I was like, this is what everybody wanted. Everyone wanted, and everyone kept talking about.
Yeah,
we're on Pokemon. The reason why I stopped playing Pokemon, even though I bought this last one, and I only put 5 hours in, because I was expecting more than it was. I was expecting that after 20 years, they changed the format, or at least a little bit.
And
I
you
was
know
hoping
why?
and praying that they would incorporate. I don't know what I was thinking. That Nintendo wasn't going to be Nintendo.
And
I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking as successful as Go was, if you incorporated your app that nobody uses, by the way, because we got Discord, that you can incorporate that app as like, a little segue to go into the game, and then we can actually catch certain rare Pokemons and get items out in the real world. And that's how it felt to me that they were kind of marketing it at first. And then when I got it and I was streaming it.
Which one, Let's Go or the new ones?
It had no talking. They didn't even have the Animal Crossing voices. I said, this is a AAA title?
You know
and then
why?
I'm doing the same thing I did on Red and Blue and X and Y, the only 2 generations I played. But and that's why I'm stingy with, like, people have been trying to get me to get Splatoons. I'm gonna suck, but I'm just gonna wait.
Just wait till 3. Wait till 3 because don't even get it now.
I'm not getting 2
don't
now.
Even get it now. Just wait till 3. But like, real quick, I don't want to take too much time because I've been asking to talk about Pokemon for a long time because I have a lot to talk about Pokemon. The reason why they will never break away from their formula, from their mainstream games, is because the fans are so toxic. I hate the Pokemon fan base because we can't get a different. Sword and Shield should have been something that should have revolutionized Pokemon because it was the first mainstream game on the Switch. Forget Let's Go. Let's Go was a spinoff, so they can do whatever they want with spinoff games. Or technically, it's a spinoff because it's a re-release of Yellow, but it's not technically a mainline game because it's called Let's Go, and it just incorporates the main story, and you can. Pokemon Go is a thing, and they use that kind of they incorporate Go with this, but they will never do another Pokemon any differently that has just example Pokemon Galaxy or something. They will never give us they will never deviate from the path of what they want to do is because of the fan base. The fan base is horrible. I'm disappointed
in myself for believing that they would.
It's like horrible.
I was very hopeful. I pre-ordered it, ran to the store like a dummy, jumped online real quick. I'm thinking it's going to be something slightly different. And see, for me, I don't care about graphics as much, and I'll close it up. I don't. I mean, certain games I want, like my Final Fantasy VII. I want the graphics because you're predicated on graphics. If a game is supposed to be a graphical beast, then let me see it. Halo. That's why you had to go take Halo Infinite. You had to go back into the lab and fix it. But you had a Boo Boo Butter final boss. Come on. But if the game is not supposed to be that, then I don't mind if the gameplay is solid, or if even more, the story is good and the gameplay fits. I'm cool with it, and I know I'm a rare gamer when it comes to that. But
that's why I
see something just a little, even if just a little bit. Even if they would have just did this in Pokemon Sword and Shield, I would have been like, okay, so hey,
that's what they should have
did. Engaged.
Yeah. But
and
you know what?
People argue with me that it was because localization. I'm like, so you're telling me that Animal Crossing, they couldn't have did the same thing? Like Tom Nook talks to me every day.
No, because if you just real quick, I don't want to take too much. Because if you blame it on localization, look at Dragon Quest 11. The Japanese version of the game had no voiceovers, but when they brought it over here, they added voiceovers to the game. So if you talk about localization, that can't be a problem. But if you haven't seen Pokemon Legends Arceus, I'm more excited about that because it's something totally different and it's not a mainstream. So that's why I'm excited about that one. But anyway, I'm gonna let you go ahead and close it off now because we've been talking longer than we should have.
Yeah. It's such a good conversation. We always get trailed off, but there's so many more podcasts we can do. Like, I'm thinking of new ideas.
And I've been asking them.
We gotta have
give me a Pokemon one and a Kingdom Hearts one. I'll run that entire thing.
RPGs.
RPG related,
Final Fantasy.
It's so much good. But put your ideas down and the Twitter chat, you know,
The group
yeah,
chat,
but RPG chat or Pokemon, yeah, because I know that we get really enticed into it. And it's good.
Because I'll talk about Pokemon, like, I'll talk about Pokemon and the
I also like to talk about the history of gaming, and I'm just going to say this tidbit, and then for real, go. I personally think, I don't know how you guys think, but I was going to mention this earlier. Sorry, cut you off, Kotesi.
No.
I think we're what generation was this 9? I think we've hit a wall again, and I feel that personally we're not going to go over that until we start incorporating more VR and AR, because graphically we're hitting, we're 4K. Graphically, we can get the frames better, but typically if you put them all together, I mean, what when you're processing it and when you stream or you're going through your monitors and stuff, not everybody's gonna have a 4K monitor, so you're not everybody gonna have the systems and the rigs for it. Yeah. So it's kind of like we've hit it.
I think at this point it's just processing power now.
I forgot what it's called. Forgot, and it's $4.99, and I don't know why I was even looking at it because I can't afford that crap. But you guys might have seen it. My bot has an account, so I don't have the YouTube Premium, so it like every 5 minutes give me an ad, and they know I look up gaming stuff. So it's headphones that hooks to your chest. You guys might have seen it.
Oh yeah.
And like it shoots the sound through your body, so you feel it. I got the name of it.
I've seen it. It's a vest, and I've seen it more being advertised for shooting games. So if you get hit, you feel it. You feel yourself getting hit. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Listen, and I think that in virtual reality that's
the only way to go.
Hacks and SAO. I think that's the next leap. Even if it's not where it needs to be. Now that the Oculus Rift is $299 now, this come more affordable. It might even be better this year. I think that's the next wave. Because if you look back from history, from Atari, from 1-bit to 8-bit to 16, where we're at with Super Nintendo now, to 32 to 64 to 128. I mean, okay, now where we're at now, how much further are we going to get until we're starting to see projections, or we're in the game? That's
the only way to go. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not playing a game that's based off .hack or SOA. People die in real life in that crap.
Fair enough.
I'm not playing though. Hey, we have a game that's like this. Okay, people die in real life. We don't know. You ain't getting my money. I've seen too many. I've seen too many .hacks. I've seen too many SOAs where people die in the game. They either comatose or they dead. Or their brain.
But before you left, you had the love of your life and a whole bunch of bounty and your own place and
and you know what's gonna be mad is it's gonna be make me oh god. If it was let me say this. If it was like .hack, I wouldn't play for 2 reasons. For one, people get knocked out in real life. For 2, people can, if you remember what happened to Haseo, he was level 99 and something dropped him all the way down to 1. That happened to me. I'm not touching the game ever again.
No, yeah. Yeah, I'm out for that too.
Anyway, that'll be cool.
All right. Anyway, Geek, do you want does anyone have any final comments before Geek closes out?
I mean, we've been all over the place in this conversation. We usually do, but I think, like I said, I didn't own a NES, but I can agree that it was the golden age of gaming because it was just everything was just original. Nothing was recycled. Everything was like hasn't been done, or someone else tried it, but they perfected it. If that makes sense. Yeah. So, but I, like I said, I never had one, but I do agree that the Super NES, Sega, PlayStation, that was like the era that was like, okay, the golden age of originality of gaming, and I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I appreciate getting to talk about an era of gaming and a time in gaming that I really love and will always love. I appreciate that I got to talk a little bit, and we talked about the possibility of a actual focus thing on that, about what I miss about like what's missing from Final Fantasy as a series in the modern era, relative to things it's doing fairly well, but hopefully at some point go deeper into that. But I appreciate that I got to talk a bit about that, and I appreciate that it hopefully didn't derail the conversation for too long, as I can do sometimes. And I appreciate that we got through all this, and I didn't really get to any of my like controversial thoughts on this era of gaming.
We'll have a controversial day.
Keep it possible.
We will, and I will always fight for it because I'm a part of that modern era. But I will give love to the old school. And I fight for it because I look at it from a business standpoint. But that's something totally different.
All right. Well, my part is, this is great. An opportunity to talk about what we all of us grew up with, enjoying that time where it was just early on in the gaming life. Some of us had played NES, even some Atari. Mine was very little Atari. I just remember one game on Battlezone. That was it. And then some NES, but I didn't actually. It's kind of weird how it started. I got a Super Nintendo before I got the NES later on, but the Super Nintendo was really like the start of my crazy life of gaming. It was amazing. But I do want to do something in the future soon, like the ideas we brought together, and have those like soon, because we got a lot of good space in July and August. But I definitely want to do a GameCube one also, kind of thing, so we can talk GameCube, like just on that. And it's okay if we trail off into other ideas, because it all involves what we start off with, and we go into other other systems. But we always trail back to what the main focus is. Always great conversation. It's always the best, and I like having everyone here. Those who can make it when they can. Geek, you're awesome. We got you as a member now, so it's like when you're able, we'll prepare in advance. That way, everyone's set. Like at this time, we'll do this. Like for instance, in next week we are off. There's no Gamers Realm because it's the holiday. Everyone's gonna probably do their thing or just kind of chill for a week, and then afterwards, the following week, there's nothing set up, so it'll be just a gaming conversation. Maybe we'll think of something for that point. I do want to do. I did talk to Awaken to do the last Friday of the month to do. I was gonna do the last two, but I said no. The last Friday, do game night kind of thing. Awaken does that. I think the next game was supposed to be Smash Bros. Around that time, so we'll see what decides then. But I think it is on July. Hold on, where's it at? Let me look up the calendar.
You said July 16th.
16th is going to be in television. It should be so far as that's what it's looking at. Tommy Tallarico and Phil Adams going to.
We're gonna see some cool stuff that's never been shown anywhere else.
So it's kind of a good thing for us to enjoy more of what some of our new. Well, more of my crave comes from too, is the televisions. As you can tell, I'm wearing the all the stuff all the time because I love it. But let's. That's the main focus too. Is that one? But then I want to do before, even after, into August. Do some of these other things. We got great conversations ahead. I know we do. And either way, I want to thank everyone who was in the chat and all you guys too. And once Geek finishes, I'm going to end with a outro video of just a few small little commercials that I put together. It's not as long as the one I did. Believe me, it's not even as long, not even near 5. It's on way under. It's just some commercials of some of our favorite games from Super, and that's how we will end. Geek, take it away.
All right, appreciate it, CHRONOZ. Appreciate it. Thank you for the host and welcome me as a member. Once I get I'm working on my baby Akasha. Once my stuff, give me to July. Once that stuff is done, because I've been working on. I had to take a hiatus from YouTube and Twitch for about 2 months just to finish work, IRL, and this stuff. Like literally switching from OBS, from Streamlabs to OBS, and doing plugins has been just a whole nother mission. But I do appreciate it that you guys for the invite. I guess I'll close with saying Super Nintendo for me, in my opinion, is the greatest system of all time. It's on my top 3 favorite systems. Super Nintendo, PlayStation, and it's almost really a toss up between the GameCube and the Switch. And the Switch is pushing. The Switch is pushing, and it still got some time. But I do love some GameCube. I think it ushered in the golden era of games, that whole decade. And for me, everything maybe other than GTA and Skyrim could be argued that it's been a copycat league, or that it's come from this golden age of all the systems that came in with there. So I appreciate y'all. Everybody out there in the chat, thank you for stopping by to the Gamerz Realm number 72. As CHRONOZ said, we shall be back. And until next time in the web, have a good one.
Suddenly the sky is a little clearer, the water is a little bluer, the road's a little bumpier, the jumps are harder, the level's deeper, the character's smarter, the sound is hotter, the graphics cooler, the secret's darker, the danger's fiercer, the challenge a whole lot tougher. And suddenly the world's a more exciting place to be. Super Mario World. It comes only as part of the system it was created for, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, the next generation from Nintendo. Now you're playing with power, super power.
This is Cowabungie, and this is Cowabungo.
But the turtles for your 16-bit system are Cowabunga! Holy cow, it's Turtles in Time! The cool arcade game for Super NES, now with tasty turtle duels. And psych up your Sega Genesis with the Hyper Stone Heist, and all new 3D Turtle Thrash. So remember,
This is Cowabingo.
but the turtles for Super NES and Sega Genesis are...
Cowabunga, dude.
Drive you kinda loony, but please don't smash your TV, cause you'll get there eventually, baby. They're funny, they're scary, they're 2 new adventures that could make you lose your dentures.
He's back, he's here, he's Mario. No, he's the new and improved Mario in Super Mario All-Stars. So much Mario, it's a Mario smorgasbord. It's all the wigged out Mario Brothers adventures you ever played and then some. But this is True Star 16-bit only on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Mario. So it's bigger Mario, better Mario, in-your-face Mario. It's Raccoon Mario, Mario throwing fireballs, Mario hurling turnips, Mario negotiating an arms deal. Okay, maybe not. It's Mario like you've never seen him. What's 2 + 2 Mario? What's the capital of Ohio? Mario. You're gonna live, breathe, eat, sleep Mario in Super Mario All-Stars. 4 complete Mario games, including the never-seen lost levels. So you can't get more Mario than this, which is why the best played here.
Seen a rash of these lately. TMK.
TMK?
Too much Kirby.
Think you can't get too much of a good thing? Try new Kirby Superstar. It's full-blown Kirby, inflated with 8 Kirby games, bloated with 23 Kirby enemies, bulging with new Kirby powers.
Get him into observation.
New Kirby Superstar, only on SNES. Can your system handle it?